The residents of Baltimore were shocked to know that they were not safe in their homes. The members of the gun track task force were engaging in dishonest business practices, including fraud, extortion, and robbery.
Corrupt cops who swore to protect and serve were nothing more than criminals.
Their secrets were revealed in 2017, and since then, the Baltimore story was covered by the media extensively. How did they get caught? How did they manage to save their faces all these years? The significant news that this legendary police fraud gang had been exposed stemmed from the death of Freddie Gray. Given that Freddie died unexpectedly while in police custody, the Baltimore police station was under investigation. To find out how Freddie died and what caused it, an investigation was carried out. According to the inquiry report, 6 Baltimore police officers were involved in the arrest of Freddie Gray. He was caught selling drugs when he was detained. He was dragged to the police van, where they locked the door. But the fact that they disregarded safety precautions and endangered Freddie's life is what went wrong. The policeman in the van was playing with him like he was a toy. He was treated inhumanely and subjected to terrible torture. He was prohibited from using a seatbelt, and his wrists and feet were bound. He was not permitted to have any type of basic safety equipment. His spinal cord and neck were seriously hurt. He was unable to withstand the torture and passed away a week later as a result. There was something strange about the police officers. Therefore, the Department of Justice decided to look into it further. Rod Rosenstein of the DEA decided to investigate and expose this terrible tale. These 6 officers were accused of manslaughter for having little compassion for Freddie, knowing that the police force they had blindly trusted could do something terrible, shocked the public. This top-notch police unit was comprised of Thomas Allers, Momadou Gondo, Jamel Rayam, Evodio Hendricks, Maurice Ward, Marcus Taylor, Daniel Herschel, and Wayne Jenkins. Everyone paid attention to Wayne since he was the leader. Wayne Jenkins was the worst law enforcement official there has ever been. The GTF was run by him, and he was in charge. You can refer to him as the mastermind. The gun track task force was uncovered in 2017 by a unit member who confessed to his crimes on a video that the DEA heard. Gondo was in touch with the narcotics gang. The investigators' discovery of the crucial clue that caused them to begin to question the police officers marked this moment as the pivotal one. Gondo's confessions were all recorded by the DEA. He disclosed his involvement in drug sales and use. The DA was surprised when he subsequently detailed other crimes in which he had participated. These police officers have committed a seemingly endless number of crimes. They had a good plan that they followed exactly every day without fail. The drug dealers were their major focus. They would target and torture these individuals. All the narcotics would be removed and sold again. They made more money from this than they could have as a police officer. They go looking for drug dealers to extort drugs and cash from every day. They lack any emotional attributes that a person should have, along with any sense of professional responsibility for the work they conduct as police officers. The only thing they cared about was gathering more drugs to sell. They will make a significant amount of money from this. They did not shoot other individuals with the illegal guns they carry, but instead unintentionally planted explosives on them. They could then detain anyone in possession of an unauthorized firearm. These officers were brought before the court to make confessions after being apprehended. Hearing about all the crimes these officers committed in a short amount of time startled the jury. Wayne once observed some men robbing a drugstore with the assistance of other officers. They valiantly put an end to the robbery, but they were not acting alone. They kept up the robbery and took drugs from that location. After plundering the business, they sold the drugs to additional drug dealers. Through that, they became very wealthy. A prominent drug dealer suspect's house was searched without warning after they stole his house keys. Then they went ahead and made off with $100,000 from there. They used to indiscriminately drive cars at high speeds in a crowd of people, exhibiting a cruel mentality. These policemen hunt people who flee for their life before arresting them. By carrying out such awful deeds, they feel strong and joyful. They fitted illegal tracking devices in the cars of narcotics dealers to follow them. The police officers would be able to find out where and when these drug sellers will be using this equipment. The cops from the GATF either raid their residences or steal their drugs and cash. They committed all of these acts over the last 3 years without anyone even suspecting them. They discriminated against and held a negative attitude towards black people. Throughout this brief time, they stole somewhere around $300,000. They stole 7 pounds of cocaine during these 3 years. From the narcotics sellers, they also took 43 pounds of marijuana. In addition to this, they converted the proceeds from the sale of pricey, one-of-a-kind jewels into cash. According to their respective portions, they divided up the entire sum of money and spent it all on themselves. A group of police officers could not possibly have committed such heinous atrocities while on duty. The court could not believe it. They received a sentence of 112 years. They must serve that sentence in prison. Jenkins, the chief of the GITF, received a particularly lengthy sentence because he was the perpetrator of all of these crimes. Jenkins is currently serving a sentence of 25 years in a Kentucky prison. These policemen's crimes had a significant impact on the Baltimore Police Department. Both the general public and other departments must come to trust them. Others now view them with contempt, since what this policeman did was unjustifiable. The HBO miniseries with that title is called We Own This City. The Baltimore incident served as inspiration for the producers, who turned it into a miniseries and showed it to the audience. Even among female police officers, there are nasty ones. Let's witness the account of a female police officer who was deceived by love and wealth. A female police officer named Antoinette Frank and her boyfriend Rogers Lacaze committed a terrible crime together. The horrifying murder occurred on March 4, 1995, stunning the residents of New Orleans. Together with her family, Chauveau managed her restaurant. They made a substantial fortune through their family business, Kim Ainge, to watch after their business. They had enlisted Ronald Williams as a part-time security guard. In his spare time, Ronald works there. He used to be a police officer when Frank and her boyfriend, a drug dealer, stormed into the restaurant and demanded money. Chauveau called Ronald to the dining room to give his wages. Frank began threatening Chauveau and her brother. Ronald tried to intervene to defend the siblings, but Frank's lover shot him. She panicked since Frank hadn't anticipated things to go worse. Chau and her brother hid in the walk-in fridge as Frank turned around to hunt for her companion. The older siblings, Kuang and Ha Vu, were cleaning the restaurant when the incident occurred. Frank questioned them over the money, but Chau had hidden it in the microwave. She shot the 2 older siblings as soon as Frank discovered the money. Both of them received death sentences after being tried in court. Frank was transferred to a Louisiana prison for women. Do you believe there are other officers like this in law enforcement? Do you anticipate a repeat of this incident? Let us know in the comments.
On November 14, 2022, an incident occurred at an SKLD Wyoming nursing home involving a staff member named Sue and a visitor named Michelle. Sue, the administrator of the facility, called the police on Michelle, accusing her of trespassing and taking pictures of her mother without permission. Despite Michelle's claims that she had not committed any crime and that the nursing home was a public facility, the police quickly convicted her of trespassing and detained her.
She's not on the trespass list, so officially trespasser.
There you go.
Oh.
Hi,
Hello.
I'm Sue. I'm the administrator. So we have a family member who had an allegation against her, and so we've reached out to her and let her know that if she wants to visit, we need to meet with the team here and figure out a way we can keep the mom from being. Her guardian does not even want her to visit, but we talked her into letting her. If we do supervised or promise that she won't take pictures of her mom and put them all over Facebook and TikTok and stuff because the guardian doesn't want that happening. She came in, refused to talk to me, slammed the door in my face, wouldn't let me in the room. So
Do you want to trespass?
yeah, at this point, yes,
way to get her out of
until she will come in and meet with us and figure out what
you
we
can always
do.
take the no trespass order
Because-
away, but
yeah.
let's get her trespass. That's the only
Because
way
I
we're
don't
gonna
want
get
to.
her
I
out
don't
of
want
here.
to not let her see her mother, but she needs to do it so we can keep the mom safe.
During the encounter, Michelle argued that the nursing home, being publicly funded, should not be able to trespass on her without reasonable cause. She even mentioned contacting the facility's vice president, who allegedly stated that she had not committed any crime. Michelle believed that her actions were protected by her First Amendment rights, allowing her to visit the facility and take pictures freely. However, the police insisted that trespassing occurred because the nursing home, as private property, had the authority to restrict entry as they deemed necessary. They maintained that Michelle's refusal to cooperate and meet with the facility's team justified her trespass conviction.
Pretty much like anywhere, just like if you walk into a speedway, they can say, hey, I don't want this person here anymore. Doesn't matter what the reason for. If they tell me that, and they want you, they say, hey, I want them trespass.
So when I come back tomorrow, I go to jail?
Yeah, you can't come back until you
I
figure it
will
out.
be coming back.
Oh, yeah.
And I already let the vice president and president, I spoke to them today. They said, we haven't heard anything. Well, then why are they doing this? You might want to call her.
Call them and tell them to talk to Sue then.
Correct.
That's the best you can do right now.
Yep, this is just I'm sorry, this is a fucking joke.
Yeah, I'm not saying you're wrong, but so don't come back on the property until you clear it up with the
I'm coming back tomorrow. I'll be here every day, and I don't care if I go to jail. I've already been told by lawyers, by the advocates that help Britney Spears. National News, the News 8, everybody's on this. So they've already told me, if you have to push the envelope, because that's just going to seal the lawsuit. Huh?
You're not going to be able to do that.
No, but it'll seal the deal when I'm getting arrested for no crime.
Trespassing not be the crime.
No, but that's what I'm saying. They can't say I'm trespassing when I've committed no crime.
That is the crime. That's what we're trying to tell you.
Michelle expressed her frustration and stated her intention was to return to the facility, disregarding the trespass warning. She believed that her case had gained significant attention, citing advice from lawyers and advocates who had helped Britney Spears. She asserted that pushing the envelope and standing up for her rights would strengthen her potential lawsuit against the nursing home. Furthermore, Michelle claimed that one of the police officers violated her Fourth Amendment rights during her detainment. She alleged that he forcefully tried to seize her phone while she was attempting to inform her children of the situation. Despite not having committed any crime that warranted handcuffing, she was restrained by the officer.
I'm not giving it to you.
Okay, well then you're going to be detained until we figure that out then.
Huh?
Then you're detained until we figure that out.
Why are you detaining me?
Because right now you have to be trespassed.
Okay, well, can I make one phone call?
Nope, you have to give me your driver's license.
I don't
just tell me your name.
you already know my name.
Okay, can you write down her name?
Oh my God!
Exactly how it's spelled.
So
until we can find you and we can figure out who you are.
Hold on,
Exactly.
I'm gonna call and let them know. Go pick up my kids that I'm being arrested.
You're not being arrested right now.
Oh,
You're
yeah,
being detained.
So detained and arrested are two different things. Being
Hold
arrested
on.
means that you've been charged for something. Being detained is temporary.
Hold on, I'm being detained
Okay. Do you want to?
because I won't give them my license.
All right. So what's
I've
your
done
date?
nothing wrong.
What's your date of birth?
I've committed no crime.
What's your
Brandy,
date of
what's your
birth?
I committed no crime.
Okay, now you're being detained then.
Police officer.
And then we'll get a fingerprint scanner and then we'll figure it out. Let go of the phone.
Brandy, you want to work with the police.
I'm not doing anything wrong.
Right now, you need to
We're not
present
playing games with you.
Only
If
if
they-
I've committed a crime
Not
and
true.
reasonable articulable suspicion, and I've done nothing of the
So
sort.
right now you've been trespassed, okay?
Uh-huh.
So we need to identify you so we
Uh-huh.
can successfully trespass you
Uh-huh.
by doing our lawful job.
Okay.
Michelle's perspective on the incident raises concerns about the staff's handling of her visitation rights and the violation of her constitutional rights by the police officers. She intends to take legal action, asserting that her rights were infringed upon throughout the incident. In yet another troubling incident that occurred on October 31st, 2022, a visually impaired man named Jim Hodges was illegally arrested and detained by two Columbia County cops in Florida. The officers, Deputy Jamie Godey and Sergeant Randy Harrison, claimed that the walking stick Hodges had in his back pocket was a firearm, leading to his arrest without lawful authority. The encounter was captured on video by Hodges himself. When the officers approached him and questioned the object in his back pocket, Hodges explained that it was a walking stick. However, the officers insisted on obtaining his identification and detained him, citing their suspicion he was carrying a weapon.
What's this in your back pocket? I just saw you walking it.
It's a navigational aid. What's the problem? You a tyrant?
Yeah, I am actually. What's your name and date of birth?
I don't have to give that unless
Yes,
I'm
sir. I was
You
investigating.
have reasonable
Do you want me to
articulated
put you in
suspicion.
handcuffs right now? Yes, sir, I do.
Hodges questioned the officer's authority and refused to provide his identification, stating he had not committed a crime. He asserted that his Fourth Amendment rights protected him from unreasonable searches and seizures without probable cause or a warrant. Despite Hodges' explanations, the officers continued to detain him and insisted on checking his identification.
Well, you're being one to me.
No, sir, I'm
Have a
doing my
good day.
job.
Am I detained?
Yeah, you are. What's your name and date of birth?
It does not matter.
Yes, sir, it does.
Do you have a crime?
Would you like me
Call
to
your
put you in?
supervisor,
He's right
please.
here.
All right.
You don't.
For what you started for? For a walking stick.
So-
and it could look like a weapon. She asked you to really present it, okay? Now she's asking me for ID. I don't need the ID unless there's reasonable articulated suspicion that I have committed a crime and committing a crime or about to do a crime.
Sir, and her suspicion was that you were armed, okay? And she's asking you for your ID.
Well, now she has verified that I am not armed. Okay. So there is no
you
problem.
have your ID or not?
I do have my ID, but you don't need it.
Okay. Okay.
Sir, you do that.
7 Whiskey Mike 15. Where's wallet there?
Where's your wallet at, sir? I don't have a wallet on me.
Okay, where's your ID?
Where's your ID at? Pocket. Which pocket? You are not allowed to search me.
It's in this pocket.
There you go.
Thank you.
The incident constitutes a clear violation of Hodges' Fourth Amendment rights, which protect against unreasonable searches, seizures, and false imprisonment. Florida statutes define false imprisonment as forcibly confining, abducting, imprisoning, or restraining another person without lawful authority and against their will. In this case, the officers wrongly arrested and detained Hodges, despite identifying the object in his back pocket as a walking stick.
It's gonna be. I want your name and your badge number. I'll put you in jail for resisting.
Okay. Alright, let's go.
I want your name and badge number too, sir.
Have a seat.
You wanna pick my property up, please?
I sure will, after you have a seat.
You wanna pull this out of my back pocket?
Sure. Here, I'll grab your jacket for you, too.
After an investigation by the sheriff's office, it was determined that Deputy Godey and Sergeant Harrison had violated several department policies. As a result, Sergeant Harrison was immediately demoted and suspended without pay for 7 days, while Deputy Godey received a 2-day suspension. Both officers were also required to undergo remedial training on civil rights. Hodges has retained an attorney and plans to file a lawsuit against the Columbia County Sheriff's Office. He's also requesting a federal investigation into the incident. The case highlights the importance of protecting individuals' constitutional rights and holding law enforcement accountable for any violations. In this next video, in May of 2020, an incident unfolded in Columbia County, Georgia, where a man was filming a video outside the store. However, the owners of the store called the police on him, prompting officers from the Columbia County Sheriff's Office to respond. The officer in charge approached the man and requested his identification, citing a call about his videotaping activity.
Yeah, we got a call about your videotaping on the property. Do you have it?
No, I'm not on their property. I never step on nobody's property.
Oh, okay.
No, sir.
No, I've just got the call.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm just letting you know.
Do you have a driver or an ID?
Well, I don't show my ID. I don't do nothing wrong. You understand? I'm filming in public, giving people free advertisement, and they approach me. And if you could just tell them that I'm not doing anything wrong, and
Yeah, but you weren't on the property.
no, sir. I'm very careful not to do that. I'll pull GIS surveys, and been doing this a long
What are
time.
you videoing for, if you don't mind me asking?
First Amendment, protected activity. Just
doing like
yeah. Free advertisement.
Do you live around here? Are you from here? I'm
No, I'm not from around here. Most people know me. I do this. I go around and, show people right from wrong, wrong from right. And, when they say they call the police, I don't leave. Yeah.
Just checking on it.
Yeah.
But you were never on the property?
No, I'm very close. Never ever to do that. Matter of fact, far as I was right there at the edge of the curtilage, the GIS survey starts.
The man asserted that he had not committed any wrongdoing and explained that he was filming in a public area to provide free advertisement. He emphasized that he was careful not to trespass or infringe upon anyone's rights. Refusing to show his identification, he relied on his understanding of Georgia law, which states that unless someone has broken the law, they are not required to identify themselves. The officer alleged that the man had trespassed on the store's property, despite video evidence proving otherwise. However, the officer persisted in requesting identification to potentially charge the man with trespassing. The man maintained his innocence and questioned the basis for his detention, as he had not committed any crime.
Unless I've broken the law, you don't have to ID in the state of Georgia. You know, am I being detained?
Well, for the moment, yes.
For what crime?
Till we find out what's going on.
To what crime am I being committed?
We were called because you were on their property.
Right, and he determined I wasn't.
Okay. Hang tight just a minute, we'll get you out.
Am I being detained for an unlawful reason? Yes or no?
Right now, you're being detained because you were on their property, and we're trying to find out what's going on.
Okay, and I can prove that I wasn't on their property, and they can't prove that I was. Or, you know, there again, I mean, issue me a trespass, I'll be on my way, and then we'll go to court, but...
A staff sergeant arrived at the scene, and the man recounted the entire incident, including his rights and the lack of any illegal activity. As the man spoke, the 2 deputies involved in the arrest stood by, seemingly embarrassed.
How are you? What was your name and badge number, sir?
Sure, it's Staff Sergeant Johnson, 93159.
Hey, Johnson. I was explaining to them, I'm out here exercising my rights, First Amendment right. Private property starts about 1.2 foot on the other side of that telephone pole per government document survey. Well, okay. Anyway, I did my homework. I'm down here giving some people free advertisement. They called the police to me. This deputy here legally detained me for 18 minutes and 32 seconds for no suspicion of nothing. He told me that I had to show him my identification to be trespassed. I explained to him I was on the curtilage of that road. Right there, their property starts at the front tire of that VW. Okay. And I'm trying to exercise my rights. Both of them gentlemen stood in a auditorium or courthouse with their hand on a Bible, and they swore an oath to protect my civil rights. Yes, sir. He's wanting my Fourth Amendment violated. He's wanting my First Amendment violated. And they called the police to me and lied. I got 28 minutes of video that shows me doing exactly what I'm doing right now on public property, exercising my right as an American.
So and any time did you go on their property?
No, sir. I'll look. He knows exactly who I am.
Which one?
To the left.
Okay.
And I told him I'm gonna file a formal complaint on him and him. And y'all have never, ever had a problem with Columbia County.
Right.
Ever. And once you realize who I am and what I'm doing, and it really makes y'all look bad, man. And I'm legally detained for no crime. That's a...
As long as you haven't been on their property, that's fine.
Absolutely.
Because you're outside their property, and I mean, you're legally doing what you need
Absolutely.
to do.
Can you explain that to them so they don't violate anybody else's rights?
And they don't want you on their property.
Absolutely. And I don't go on their property.
That's why they were just saying a criminal trespass warning. So you've been warned.
I've been warned the first time that don't get an ID. The second time you do. See, he didn't know that. He didn't know that.
I'm good to go with you if you're...
I'm good to go. Am I still detained? Thank you. Well, and thank you. I'll wait till y'all leave and then I'll leave.
The staff sergeant acknowledged the man's explanation and confirmed that he had not been on the store's property. The man expressed his intention to file a formal complaint against the deputy who detained him, citing violations of his Fourth Amendment rights and First Amendment rights. Eventually, the deputies conceded that there was no illegality in the man's filming activity and allowed him to leave without further detainment. This incident serves as a reminder of the importance of understanding and upholding individuals' constitutional rights, even during encounters with law enforcement.